I'm struggling to locate a cherished bracelet of mine, and I suspect that my mother-in-law might have taken it without permission. This isn't the first time. She has a history of borrowing my items without asking. My husband, trying to ease the tension, gently reminds me, "It was a gift from your mother, just try to accept it." It frustrates me that he always takes her side and never defends me, which makes the situation more difficult for me. Then something much worse happened. Someone stole my husband's beloved luxury car, and I know exactly who was behind it. My name is Julie. I'm 30 years old, and up until recently, my life with my husband Richard was blissful. We had just celebrated our first wedding anniversary when our lives took an unexpected turn. Although we both work, I finish my duties early and usually start preparing dinner, waiting for Richard to come home. One evening, Richard arrived with startling news that his mother would be moving in with us indefinitely following the recent passing of his father. She felt lonely and wanted to be closer to us as she aged. "Wait, she's moving in to live with us?" I asked, trying to wrap my head around the sudden change. Richard nodded. "Yes, it's been tough for her alone. She needs to feel safe and connected." Feeling overwhelmed, I responded, "But you should have discussed this with me first. We have our own lives. Can't we think it over?" Despite my plea, Richard simply smiled and shrugged. "It's fine. She just wants to be with us and feel secure. I understand she might feel lonely and scared, but you made this major decision without consulting me. Couldn't you have at least discussed it with me?" "Why should I have to explain everything? She's my mom," he countered. "But that's just it," I replied, feeling the weight of the situation. "She's your mom, not mine. I have to change everything because of this. Why aren't you considering how I feel?" "It's already decided, just deal with it," he responded, shutting down further discussion. I called out to him, trying to reopen the conversation, but he ignored me and walked out of the room, leaving me to stew in my frustration. How could he unilaterally decide that we'd all live together without even discussing it with me? I still had to adapt regardless of my feelings. Richard rarely helps around the house and dismisses the disruption because it's no big deal to him. It's his mother, after all. We've tried to talk about it, but he just shuts down the conversation, insisting that the decision is final. As expected, the following week, his mother, my mother-in-law, showed up at our house as though it had been her home all along. I might not mind the arrangement so much if she were a kinder person, but every encounter with her is strained. She often says hurtful things and treats me poorly, which is why I usually avoid visiting her place unless necessary. Now, suddenly, we were supposed to live together. True to form, my mother-in-law started criticizing me from day one. "Julie, did you know I was coming today? There's trash in the corner," she scolded. "I'm sorry, I was working and didn't have time to clean," I explained. "Excuses? Couldn't you have cleaned up after work?" "But then I wouldn't have had time to make dinner." "Oh, come on, stop arguing back. How do you even manage being Richard's wife? Be more efficient." I stuttered an apology, only 13 minutes into her stay in our home, feeling more overwhelmed than ever. And just like that, my worries about living with my mother-in-law deepened. Ever since she moved in, her controlling behavior escalated, constantly stressing me out. Then one day, something unusual happened. I returned from work to find her greeting me with an uncharacteristically warm smile. "Welcome home," she beamed, which was odd for her. As I hung up my coat, a glint of something shiny caught my eye. It was around her neck. "Wait, is that my necklace?" It looked identical to mine. Unease washed over me as I rushed to my bedroom to check my jewelry box. My fears were confirmed. I confronted her in the living room where she sat nonchalantly. "That necklace, it's mine, isn't it?" I asked, barely containing my frustration. She smirked. "Oh, you finally noticed? It looks good on me, doesn't it?" Her shameless reply stunned me. "What are you talking about? Please stop using my things without asking. It's not okay," I protested. "What's the big deal? It's not like it's going to disappear or anything. Stop complaining and get dinner ready. Richard will be home soon. She dismissed me. As I prepared dinner, she continued to meddle, increasing my stress. That evening, I reached my limit and decided it was crucial to talk to my husband Richard about it. "Hey, Richard, can we talk?" I asked as he walked through the door. "What's on your mind?" he inquired casually. "Today, I found your mother wearing my necklace. She never asked for my permission," I explained, trying to keep my voice steady. "Oh, so you're saying she went into my room, opened my jewelry box, and just took it? Isn't that a bit of an exaggeration?" Richard's skepticism was immediate. "How am I exaggerating? This is exactly what happened," I responded, my frustration growing. "Come on, I'm sure Mom didn't mean any harm." He tried to downplay the situation. I felt a surge of anger at his automatic defense of her. Struggling to remain composed, I continued to explain the situation, hoping to make him understand. "So you're saying it's okay for her to just walk into my room and take my things without asking? A normal person would at least say sorry," I pointed out to Richard, frustration building up. "Well, Mom probably just saw something she liked and grabbed it, but that's not really the issue here, Richard. You need to speak with her about respecting my space," I insisted. "What? Telling her off won't change anything," he responded dismissively. "But you're her son. She might listen to you. You need to handle this," I pressed, hoping he would understand the gravity of the situation. "Okay, fine. I'll talk to her," he finally conceded, albeit reluctantly. However, despite his promise, Richard seemed to have forgotten the entire conversation by the next morning. I shot him a few irritated looks over breakfast, but he never brought it up with his mother. Since then, my mother-in-law began using my belongings freely, treating them as if they were hers to borrow without needing permission. My complaints fell on deaf ears, and with no locks on any of the doors, confronting her seemed futile unless she decided to change her behavior. If this continued, I feared I would start losing my belongings permanently. I realized I needed to devise a strategy to stop my mother-in-law's intrusive behavior. Then, one day, something happened that I couldn't overlook or forgive. It was missing. I had plans to meet a friend and wanted to wear my late mother's bracelet, a treasured piece I kept hidden in a secret compartment on my desk, rather than in my jewelry box. But it was gone. The only person who could have taken it was my mother-in-law. When I confronted her firmly about the missing bracelet, she nonchalantly admitted to taking it. "Oh, that bracelet? I just borrowed it," she said casually. "No, give it back right now," I demanded, the urgency and frustration clear in my voice. This wasn't just any item, it was a precious connection to my late mother, and I couldn't stand to see it treated so carelessly. "I need it back immediately," I demanded. "I can't do that," my mother-in-law replied coolly. "Why not?" I asked, my heart racing. "Because I sold it," she confessed nonchalantly. "What? You sold it? Are you joking? Who sells someone else's belongings?" I was utterly shaken but tried to maintain my composure. "Stop joking around and give it back now," I insisted, hoping she was just teasing. "I'm not kidding. By the way, most of the things I've borrowed from you, I've sold those too," she added, dropping another bombshell. "What were you thinking?" I exclaimed, incredulous. As I confronted my mother-in-law, my husband Richard, who had just woken up, walked into the room. Seizing the moment, I quickly explained the situation to him. "Richard, listen to this. Your mom sold my bracelet, the one that belonged to my late mother. Plus, she's been selling off most of the things she borrowed from me without asking." "Richard, is this true?" he asked his mother, a look of disbelief crossing his face. Faced with the question, my mother-in-law stuck out her tongue playfully. "I'm on a fixed income, you know. I didn't want to be a burden, but I can't make ends meet without a little extra cash." "You've got to be joking. Who gave you the right? Don't get so upset. I didn't mean any harm," she said, trying to downplay her actions. "If you meant no harm, you wouldn't be selling other people's things," I retorted, my patience wearing thin. "That's because—" she started to explain, but I cut her off. "Where did you sell it? Get it back right now," I demanded. Just then, Richard yelled, "Enough is enough." However, to my surprise, he wasn't looking at his mother. He was glaring at me. Confused and hurt, I asked, "Why are you yelling at me, Richard? Your mom took my bracelet without asking." "Be quiet. I did it for Mom. Stop complaining," he shot back. "For Mom? Seriously? Why should I give up my precious things for her?" I asked, my voice rising in frustration. "Because it makes Mom happy. She's your mother-in-law. Show some respect and just do as you're told," Richard responded, siding with his mother. I was dumbfounded and deeply hurt. How could my husband not see the unfairness of the situation? How could he expect me to simply comply and sacrifice my precious belongings for his mother's happiness? The whole ordeal was becoming unbearable. I couldn't endure it any longer. Neither his mother stealing from me nor Richard consistently siding with her. I was at my breaking point, driven by escalating anger. "That's it! If you won't take this seriously, then maybe we should just get a divorce," I shouted, my voice thick with emotion. "Stop joking about divorce," Richard retorted, clearly not taking me seriously. "I'm not joking, Richard. I'm dead serious," I replied, my determination clear. "Fine, whatever. I'll get the divorce papers today," he said dismissively. "Fine, if that's what you want, I'm okay with it," I responded, equally resolute. As we argued, I caught a glimpse of a satisfied smirk on his mother's face. It dawned on me that she never liked me. Perhaps her real aim was to drive me away, securing the house for herself and her son. That night, Richard returned home with the divorce papers already filled out. After signing them, I began packing my belongings. I decided to wait for the right moment to leave. The next day, during my work break, I noticed multiple missed calls from my sister Megan, who lived nearby. Concerned, I called her back immediately. "Wait, Megan, is that true?" I asked, alarmed by her news. "It is, no doubt about it. It's not common around here, but it's true. I took a photo, so I'll send it to you. Make sure to check it on your end," she informed me urgently. "Okay, got it," I replied, ending the call. After hanging up, Megan sent the photo, providing undeniable evidence that could potentially expose my mother-in-law's deceitful behavior. That evening, as I was calmly preparing dinner, Richard rushed into the kitchen, his expression fraught with worry. "Julie, this is serious. My prized car, is gone." "Wow, that's serious, but why aren't you more worried?" he questioned, his tone accusatory. "You know how much that car means to me. I've been dreaming of it since I was single, and I finally bought it last year, remember?" "Exactly, so be more concerned. We're still paying off the loan for it. Where could it have gone?" he pressed, panic rising in his voice. "Please don't tell me, Julie, did you take it?" he asked suddenly, suspicion in his eyes. "Of course not, Richard. I have my car," I replied, frustrated by the accusation and the turmoil swirling around us. I knew that Richard would be furious if I had taken his car, but then I glanced at my mother-in-law, who quickly looked away. This small action confirmed my suspicions. "Richard, I think your mom knows something about this," I said cautiously. "Why would my mom know anything about it?" Richard responded, confused. I addressed my mother-in-law directly, noticing how her face had turned pale. "What are you talking about, Julie? How is my mom involved?" Richard asked, trying to make sense of the situation. "Well, I got a call from Megan today. She was out shopping and saw your mom driving your car," I explained. "That car is pretty unique, being a foreign model and blue. It's quite noticeable around here. Megan even recognized the license plate." Richard, now visibly angry, turned to confront his mother. "Wait, what's happening here?" he demanded. My mother-in-law started making excuses. "No, Richard, I just borrowed the car for a bit." "Borrowed? Seriously? I've told you so many times not to touch that car," Richard replied, frustration mounting. "I'm sorry, but I wanted to drive it," she said sheepishly. "What on earth did you do with the car then? Did you leave it somewhere?" Richard pressed, trying to understand the full extent of the situation. "No, not exactly, but I did leave the keys in the ignition. Someone from the neighborhood might have taken it," she admitted, seeming nervous. "Stolen? Seriously?" Richard was incredulous. "I swear I drove the car all the way home. I'm not lying." she insisted. To challenge her story, I showed her a photo to prove my point. Is this why you're lying? Did you wreck the car like this? I showed her a photo of my sister, Megan. It depicted my mother-in-law driving a badly damaged luxury car. Megan sent this just in case you took Richard's car and wrecked it so badly that you couldn't drive it back, didn't you? No, that's not what happened, she stammered, cornered by the evidence. Where's the car now? Richard demanded, his patience wearing thin. As we discussed the mysterious disappearance of the car, Richard's patience rapidly unraveled. And if someone stole it from the neighborhood, wouldn't someone have noticed? He argued. Beside me, Richard trembled with rage, his voice escalating as he confronted his mother with an intense stare. Are you serious? You wrecked my car, and then what? You just give it back now? Calm down, Richard, his mother tried to soothe him. How can I stay calm? You're paying for the repairs, Richard snapped back, but his mother dropped another bombshell. That's impossible. I've already sold the car. Sold it? That's not possible. The car's in my name, Richard exclaimed, disbelief coursing through his words. I found a dealer who said they'd buy any car. They told me I could even sell it on behalf of someone else, so I sold it for $5,500, she confessed nervously. Richard was aghast. The luxury car he had cherished, which could easily fetch hundreds of thousands even in a quick sale, had been sold for a mere fraction of its value. His mother had been duped by some shady dealer who took advantage of her ignorance about the car's true worth. When Richard grasped the full extent of what had happened, his fury knew no bounds. He yelled at his mother like never before. You've got to be kidding me. Do you realize how much that car meant to me? I'm sorry, Richard. I'll give you back the $5,500, so please forgive me, his mother pleaded, her voice laced with regret. $5,500 isn't even close to enough. Get out, Richard commanded, his voice stern and unyielding as he forcibly ushered his mother out and locked the door. Turning to me, his demeanor shifted to one of defeat. I never thought Mom could cause so much trouble. I'm sorry for not supporting you earlier, he admitted. Finally, you understand. Don't worry, now that she's gone, I'm over it. Let's move forward happily together, I responded, trying to find some solace in the resolution. No, we won't, I declared firmly. I want a divorce. Instantly, Richard's face turned pale, and he clung to me, bewildered. Wait a second, I already kicked Mom out. Why divorce now? Don't you understand? His voice was a mix of desperation and confusion, failing to grasp why ejecting his mother from our home hadn't mended the deeper fractures in our relationship. I reached my breaking point, Richard. This divorce decision isn't up for discussion anymore. I'm done trying to repair this relationship. Too many times you've sided with your mom over me, and it's simply not fair. You're being overly harsh, Richard countered, clearly taken aback by my firm resolve. That's ironic coming from you, I shot back. When I needed your support, you did nothing. It's as if you cared more about your mother's comfort than our marriage. My feelings for you have soured just as they have for her. Julie, please calm down and rethink this, Richard implored, his voice laced with desperation. This entire situation stems from your choice to prioritize her over us. Remember that. I'll never forgive you for it. And regarding the car, what happened to it was deserved. You brought this upon yourself, I asserted, my anger palpable. You believe that? Fine. I hope you find the mortgage and car payments overwhelming. You've earned every bit of hardship that comes your way, I declared, cutting through any further excuses he might have had. Leaving him to absorb the weight of my words, I grabbed my bags, already packed and ready. I made my way to City Hall to file for a divorce, severing our ties permanently by deleting all his contact information. Later, I confronted my mother-in-law to demand compensation for selling my belongings without consent. She reluctantly agreed, now burdened with her financial obligations to Richard. Richard was left to manage the repercussions alone, bogged down by loans and a lifestyle drastically different from before. No more therapeutic drives, just days filled with regret. I moved to an apartment near my job, embracing the tranquility and independence of a single life. With my newfound financial freedom, life seemed much more serene. Today, on my day off, I might even drive to the beach, basking in the true essence of freedom. I'm fully committed to making the most of this new chapter in my life.